Good evening. It is tonight here in Carson City, Nevada. Around 9 o'clock, and the date is October the 2nd, 2013 AD. And this is episode number 21 of the Mobuku Chronicles. Yeah, and it has been some time since I last had a chronicle. I think it was in April. Well, it was in April the 7th. And well, you know, I mean, it takes me, I have to get really inspired to do these, you know, because there's a lot went on in the summer. I went away, vacations, camping, whatnot, and had a great time. I hope you did too, because fall has started, and best time of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Michaelmas, fall colors, postseason baseball, football season in full swing, hockey season just starting, and it's just great if you're a sports fan. Really the best time of year, cottage. So, what am I going to talk about tonight? Well, a lot of things to talk about. I was kind of holding off because I was hoping that some big, some really big thing would happen that would kind of sort of splatter all over the pages of every rag in the country, every newspaper, both local and national. But although some big things really did happen, it was all kind of swept under the rug, and the mediocre sophomoric media just looks the other way, right? I mean, what is the latest thing that I read just now, which I got to bring to your attention? Is this Matt Taibbi? He writes for Rolling Stone. He was the man that coined the immortal phrase for Goldman Sachs, the great vampire squid. So, and they are. And he has a definition of word which he calls prostitute. A member of the media who will alter their story and reporting based on financial interests or other ties with usually partisan individuals or groups. And he goes on to say, it has become abundantly clear in recent years, well, at least the last decade. Well, actually it started with Reagan. That's when I noticed it, the mass media degenerated to a bunch of what I would call lapdogs around the king's table, trying to pick up any crumbs they could get, is the way I described them at that time. And it definitely began with Reagan. So it's been a long, long time. I mean, Reagan, when did he come to power? 80. So that's what? 80, 33 years. And this just degenerated. The corporate mass media is just a tool to pull the wool over everybody's eyes while trying to give the impression they actually know what they're talking about. And it's just a waste of time, unless you want to find out what they want you to think today, as the case may be. Anyway, the mainstream media cannot be identified as anything other than a collective of mediocre corporate government, butt-kissing sycophants is what I call them. That's the way they are. Nothing much to write home about. So if you want the real deal, you have to go to the internet, because the internet is the great leveler as far as information goes, and information is power. And if you have the right information, then that is a powerful tool. And if you have the wrong information, then you're just a dupe. And it's your own fault. You know, I wonder how many people go to the websites I recommend. So, first thing I need to talk about is gold and silver. Because, you know, we've had another smackdown yesterday. You know, totally counterintuitive. The government shuts down, you know, the incompetent, sort of dyslexic people in power can't even balance a budget, you know, let alone run a government. They can't run a government. We don't have a government that's worth talking about. You know, it's like somebody asked me one time, what do you think of the government? I said, what government? Do we have a government? I don't think so. Oh, you mean that Washington? Nah, sorry, not a government. Doesn't qualify. Sort of, it's, you know, so, how should we say, well, it's toxic. It's a diseased organism. You know, the administration, necessarily. The Supreme Court, the judiciary, Congress, Senate, Federal Reserve, CIA, military, FBI, totally and utterly diseased, racked with poison and bilious cynicism. That's really what it is. And so, you know, it's like, you know, any kind of sickening poison that is, you know, blanketing the whole country in a fog where you can't even spy the land, to quote Dylan. You really need to know what's going on. And the whole purpose of the Mobuku Chronicles is to inform us, even though what I'm going to tell you is not particularly pleasant, the truth of the matter is, the truth itself doesn't really care whether you like it or not. You know, everybody would like their truths to be nicely wrapped up in a blue box with a pink ribbon around it, but truth's not like that. Truth is just what it is. And it's better to look at it as it is rather than live in denial of it, which is what 95% of the population do, including the top 1%. They're totally living in denial. Doesn't matter how many trillions of dollars your net worth is, or tens of trillions, or hundreds of trillions, or whatever. They're living in denial of reality. And the reality is that the nation state continues to smash itself to pieces, and we've been witnessing that every day. So if you look at all the dysfunctions, the dysfunctional government, which is kind of epitomized with the shutdown that started today or yesterday. And of course what we saw yesterday was a smackdown of the gold and silver prices. And, you know, just par for the course. Whenever they want things to look good, they smash gold and silver. You know, and try to get people to not buy it. But I'm saying to you, you should be accumulating gold and silver no matter what the price is until it's no longer affordable. And that time is not that far off. Within the next 6 to 12 months. You won't be able to get gold or silver at any price. And so while they've made it really nice and cheap for us, we should be buying. And you should be buying as much as you can afford, and I recommend that at least 60% of your net worth, however low it is, should be in silver bullion in your own possession, stored away where nobody else knows where it is. That is, it's outside the system. And you should be doing that. And you shouldn't be worrying about the price. I mean, I just read today on this same website right here, that website that I was just reading from, which is Zero Hedge. Guy said that within 10 years the price of gold would be $10,000 an ounce. And that implies that the price of silver will be at least $2,000 an ounce. So at $21, I mean, it's so underpriced, it's so undervalued that it's kind of just a laughing stock. It really is. So you should be buying it. Now, in terms of the dysfunctional America, you know, the disunited states of America, we can say that there are many symptoms of this dysfunctionality of the disunited states of America, and that it is falling apart at the seams. And there have been several events over the course of the last, well, when was that? April, so that's the 4th month, we're in the 10th, the last 6 months. And probably the biggest one is that the revelations brought to the light by Edward Snowden, you know, the whistleblower who has let loose upon the world, and he's only just started the revelations of the spying, not only of the American people by the National Security Agency, but the spying of the whole world. You know, they even spy on their allies, so-called, you know. Like, you know, Germany was outraged by it, and Brazil is not exactly an enemy of the United States. Well, the Brazilian president and lady, I can't remember her name, she was supposed to have a state visit, first one to the United States since like 1968 or something. And she said, no, we're not coming because we're furious at the fact that you're spying on my government. And then she gave a speech at the United Nations General Assembly last week, and she's just scathingly ripped into Obama and the federal government. And it was rightfully and justly, justifiably, you know, the speech was right and justifiable. So, and Obama, he kind of made an interesting statement. He said, we are not a banana republic. Now, why would he say that? Because the disunited States of America has all the markings of a banana republic. That's why he said that. In other words, living in denial. And, well, so that takedown there was done. And it's interesting, while that takedown occurred, the dollar index also went down. Because usually they go opposite, you know. Dollar index goes down, gold goes up. Dollar index goes up, gold goes down. Whereas yesterday gold went down and the dollar index went down. So, so this Snowden thing, now I want to read something from Jim Willey. And this is not from this last month, but the one before, his hat-trick newsletter from the Golden Jackass. And this is very interesting, because this has kind of been, he's been talking about this